reflecting permission to move through uh, self-judgment and into into following through on the things that bring us, that make us who we are, that inspire us, answering the call, knowing that there is a call there. There's a call if there's a part of you that like kind of wants to do it, but there's also a part of you that's like afraid, and knowing that the fear is the programming, is the bullshit, is the programming. It's really important. You know, there's many things we can say, oh, sometimes fear is valid, but just for this moment, let's make it really simple. Fear is bullshit. Let's make it really fucking simple. Self-doubt is the disease. You know, there's nuances, exceptions, sometimes. Hold on, let's just get back to basics. And that part that's like, what if, that juiciness, that like maybe, that we've been taught, that is so normalized to not fully follow through on. I declare I am in service to the embodiment of, I invite that may that be what we do and we live for, and we show up in the world as, in vulnerability, in the exploration, taking our baby steps into walking the walk of what makes us who we are, and knowing that that's in service to the collective, because that is what the collective, the greater self, is embodying through us. If it feels good for us as who we are, then it is what the collective, what the whole, what life is embodying, is bringing through us, and that feeling of inspiration and of excitement and joy, of curiosity, is the biological, the spiritual, the vibrational mechanism of yes, of resonance, the internal GPS that says yes, and those different nuances of fear and self-doubt and whatever that is what we are shedding, what we have to come out of as a collective, because it is those doubts in ourself and in trust in what feels good for our body, and accommodating to some superficial imposed collective thought matrix of how we should be, that is how we should repress our curiosity, sleep over the edge, how we should manipulate our authentic expression and passions. It's those things that have created all the mess and the havoc in the world, because people are not functioning from their authentic selves. And it's not to make anyone wrong and say that they're being bad, because on a deeper level, everything is just nature, everything is just the universe doing its thing through us, and everything has a greater part in the wholeness, in the resonance, in the harmony that we're bringing through, and in the greater lessons that we're learning on how to truly become free, how to truly discern, how to truly master the realm of illusion so we can come into the realm of reality, how to master discernment, mental, philosophical discernment of what is actually in alignment with reality, with nature as it is. Like, we're so obsessed and infatuated with science as a collective, and yet we are so caught up psychologically in illusion. So it is so important to discern on a philosophical and mental level that so much of the motivations and the filters on our expression are actually a part of our universal exploration and evolution, to see and to play with the infinite possibility of Maya, of illusion and of imagination, to realize that our true self and our true potential for fulfillment is now breaking out of that cocoon. So not to judge all those fears and all those protective mechanisms and all those ego programs and all those systems in the world, to embrace them as teachers for what we're capable of unconsciously creating when we're in fear and when we're not trusting who we really are, and instead to and through that to integrate our shadow, to integrate and to become true masters of consciousness, of reality. And the real mastery is walking in between the worlds and stepping into our authentic selves and into our fuck yes, and into discernment and saying no to the bullshit without demonizing the bullshit. So there's this like fire and fierceness when I say fear is bullshit in the world. You know, people are functioning from programs, as there can be a feeling of fierceness, but don't let that confuse you. I think I'm coming from a place of demonizing or making that wrong, because that is actually still not a congruent way with reality to perceive and to work with these things, because these things in and of themselves don't actually hold these programs, these things that we're shedding and releasing and growing out of these self-harming collective programs. They're not actual, real, definitive things in and of themselves. They're just the product of what happens when we are taught that we are definitive things, when we calcify, and our natural expression, which is unbound by the thoughts, judgments, is repressed by thoughts and by judgments. So by judging those things, I'm reinforcing the state of egoic consciousness in which they function. But when we really are just present to reality as it is, then those things can reveal themselves. When we really are just witnessing awareness and meditation and flow, without getting caught up on on what things appear to be on the surface level, and all the ways that these egoic programs are haunting us internally or in the world as we become conscious of them. So we become conscious of how those, how those things feel out of resonance. We become more sensitive as a collective. Our heart awakens, our awareness fucking grows up, we fucking mature, we wake up, we become sovereign agents. Part of that sovereignty is having that internal neutrality to be able to see everything, to use everything for the means of empowerment, and know that we cannot learn about how to master balance and light and who we truly are without knowing who we're not. And so who we truly are is everything. Who we're not is separate beings. So the welcoming and the inclusion of the things that reflect to us the possibility of experiencing ourselves as separate beings, including that as like, oh, cool, thank you for your lessons. It's a fucking hard lesson, but it's right in my face. And the more I fight you and resist you, the more out of alignment I feel with myself. The more we discern, have that crystal clear discernment of what programs and self-consciousness and self-doubts and egoic projections are not of service to us, are not in alignment with our true selves, are part of outdated programs that are falling away at this time, which have nothing to do with the truth and freedom and permission that the divine inner child has to fully express unapologetically, shamelessly, authentically. To discern and protect ourselves from believing that, but also how to have that same innocence and that same maturity to witness those programs that we are discerning that we don't have to take on without causing more of it, without taking on and embodying the very thing that we don't like about that, which is a sense of separation. So how to dance with grace. It's not through fighting, right? It's through creating from this place of yes. So the no is helpful, not for the sake of giving us something to fight, for the sense of knowing what we want to create that reflects the true inclusivity. Otherwise, we're creating more separation if all we're doing is fighting. Because we're creators. So if we're focusing on the no and fighting that, then we're just creating more of that. Because what we focus our attention on, we create more of. So we have to be really conscious of the fact that we are the channels through which the universe is constantly creating. We're constantly creating a new way. And this new way is constantly being birthed through us. And it's through all of us. It's the universe itself. It's all inclusive. And so anything that's rooted in an illusion of ego is going to become really, really uncomfortable. And everything happening on this planet is therefore a perfect opportunity to to become free, to the fact that we are creators,